Well, welcome back. Welcome back to Extraordinary Drummer Show. I'm your host, as you know, Cheron Moore. I always say today, because I'm always excited about my guests that I have on the show. I told you I always go after and request guys and guests that I really want to talk to. Not that they're just hot and they're amazing and they're extraordinary, but I really want to talk to these people. Well, today is just that. This gentleman I have today, I tell you, not only is he a dear friend, this is gonna get saucy and long, okay, Erick? Not only is he a dear friend, he's been a blessing in my life. And as I tell you who he is, I'm sure he's been a blessing in your life too. I always considered him, he's more than just this, but I always considered him a gospel drummer. You know him from such credits as C.C. Winings, Fred Hammonds, Joe Samples, Yarbrough and Peoples. He's worked with Tyler Perry. He's a producer, a songwriter, too many studio sessions that we can count up. But the one gig I wanted to talk with him about today is, I think he's the original drummer for the gentleman, the gospel artist Kirk Franklin. All those great songs, Silver and Gold, He's Able. Well, this is the guy who played on that stuff. Will you help me welcome today my guest, Erick. We call him Emo. Come on. Erick Emo Morgan. Erick Morgan, ladies and gentlemen. Erick!
What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Was that a long intro or what, huh?
Man, that was way too long, man. I took a bathroom break on that intro, man. You didn't even know it. How you doing, man?
I'm well, thank you, man. Thanks for being on Extraordinary Drummer Show.
Hey, man, it's my pleasure, brother.
How you holding up in all this COVID and all this pandemic and all this stuff?
Man, I've been blessed throughout this, man. It hadn't hit me in excuse me, in any kind of way, man. And I've been, I have a recording studio and I have all kinds of guests in here, and I haven't gotten sick or I haven't lost any money, any business. It's like everybody stopped working and wanted to come in the studio.
Take me all the way back. Do you remember when you first started wanting to play drums, and you remember when you got your first drum kit?
Oh yeah, man. I got my pops brought me my first drum set when I was 4 years old. And I still have that drum set. I still have it. It's in my storage. It's in bad shape. I keep saying I'm gonna really restore it one of these days. But it was a blue Slingerland drum set, man, and it's sitting in my storage, and I need to get on it. But my family, I come from a family of musicians. My dad, uncles, and aunties, and cousins, everybody played something. My dad, he played everything. He played organ, piano, guitar, trombone, bass, drums. He did all of it, and he played it all well. I mean, I grew up in a house. We had this early 70s, we had a B3 organ in our house, had a bass, piano. I mean, we had everything. And so the easiest thing to learn was just drums. So, I would just jump on the drums and just play while my dad's playing and stuff like that. And, just did it because it was just fun. My cousins would come over, so we would all just jump on different instruments and just, have a good time, man.
How did you go about making a name for yourself around town? How did you get out and start making a name for yourself around town?
Man, well, like I said, it was two things. It was a couple of things I was into. Sports. I was always into sports. And, like I said, music. Our church was a very popular, big church. So we had all these music. So I just liked being the main drummer, in all these music. We used to have a lot of musicals back then. And it was always fun. So people would come to our church and they would hear us. And, I would do, every now and then I do some special lick or something, that I done came, hit something crazy. And I was always daring. So I would just do it. Sometimes I get off time, but I didn't care, And so I started, being popular, around town, and which was cool. you know, it just brought a lot of attention to me. So I was like, you know, okay, this is all right. I wasn't never in my life trying to be a professional drummer. Did not want to be, I either want to be a professional football player or I want to be an airline pilot. One of the two. I just did music because it was just fun. You know what I mean?
Explain to drummers, what is shout music and what's the correct way of playing it? I've heard you play it and it sounds like a freight train coming down the track, boy.
Well, now to be honest, okay, we call this shout music coming up. Now they call it a praise break.
Oh, okay.
They call it a praise break. We did a Kirk Franklin and the Family reunion concert probably about 2 or 3 years ago, and they started shouting. And I hadn't played that shout music in about 15 years. Man, let me tell you something. I was about to pass out. That's because it was going so fast, man. They were just going in, and I was like, ooh, wee. I mean, you know, that's that fast tempo stuff, man. But the way they do it now, man, they don't, they do a lot of cymbal stuff now. We didn't. You know, when we was coming, it was like, you know, you have to get that drive going, but now they'll stop and just hit all cymbals. I still don't get it now, but, you know, that's just the way it is. But when we was coming up, shout music, you had to be solid. I mean, you had to be solid. That 2 and 4 had to be solid. You know what I mean? All of that had to be solid, man. And if you're going to do a rip, you better not mess it up either. You know what I mean? So, hey.
Tell me about getting to the Kirk Franklin gig. How did you get that gig?
Man, back in like the early 90s, like 91, 92, Kirk was, he was a choir director, and we was all a part of this one big choir in Dallas called the DFW Mass Choir. And it was like 300 and something strong. And so, but it was a lot of directors. It was 23 musicians in that band. We had like 8 drummers and I mean, just a host of keyboard players, and it was a bunch. So Kirk was one of the directors. So, and this was all the top musicians and directors in Dallas-Fort Worth area. And so they used to get into it, them directors. Woo! They was bumping heads big time, man. And so Kirk came to me one day. He was like, he said, man, I'm getting ready to do my own thing. You know, I got this other group that I got called, you know, The Family. And I'm getting ready to record, and I want to know, you know, will you be a part of it and help me put the band together? I was like, you know, cool, no problem. You know, Kirk was, I mean, he was a good director and performer then, but he, you know, no records or nothing like that. And so we put the band together and put the group together and did the recording, man. And, you know, one of the songs just blew up. One of the main songs that we didn't think was going to do anything, it just crossed over. And that was the Why We Sing tour, song. So, which almost didn't get recorded, you know. It was well, it was like, we recorded that song like the last song of the night. And we was like out of time and all of that kind of stuff, you know. It was like, come on, man, let's go on and record this song. And that was the main song that radio stations started playing, you know, R&B radio stations started playing. And it crossed over, man. And that blew him up. That one song, man, it blew him up. And all he needed, he's so talented, all he needed was just one door to open. And he knocked that door down and just took over, man. You know? I
see the plaque behind you of the album that you played on.
Oh yeah, that's that first Why We Sing.
Yeah, that's the one with silver and gold and all the other stuff he's able.
Right. Yeah.
Man, you killed that stuff, man.
Oh, appreciate it, man.
Somebody used to call you and bug you. How did you do this? How did you play that? Why did you play that? took me forever to learn He's Able, man. I was messing with that for about a year, I think.
Man, I wish I could go back and replay that stuff, man. I'll be listening like, dude, what was you thinking? Calm down, young man.
What did it feel like? Because that album didn't take off right away. It kind of was sizzling around. And then one day, years later, that album just blew up. It just became like.
Yeah, it took about a year for that album for that song to take off. You know what I mean? Because we recorded it, I think, like in 91 or 92 or something like that. And it didn't really, really gain any steam to like 93.
Yeah.
You know, and it took off. You know, once he signed with Vicky Mack, you know, Gospel Centric, and that song just took off. But in between that, I was doing other recording with Yolanda Adams and James Moore and all these other gospel artists. I was doing a whole bunch of recordings then. And then Kirk was doing little dates, and I would be like, he was like, hey, man, we got a date in Oklahoma. I'd be like, how y'all getting there? Vans. Man, like, you got to get somebody else to do that one. So, and then once he really started taking off, then I kind of jumped back on board, you know. So,
what was it like working with him?
Oh, he's cool, man. It's real cool. Yeah, he's a great guy to work with. Yeah. He's very laid back. I mean, he's crazy just like us. I mean, as far as fun, you know, it's funny and having a great time. You know, he's a jokester. So, you know, we all, you know, jail together.
I'm gonna stay on Kurt for a few minutes. Did Kurt's style kind of fascinate you, where he wasn't singing, he was talking, and he really was hitting the streets, right on the streets. It wasn't that churchy stuff. It was right in your face, right where you are. Did that stuff kind of take you aback, and how did you approach that as a drummer?
Well, his style was pretty unique. We had seen it before, because one of his mentors, V. Michael McKay, was the same way. But Kirk was I'm gonna say a younger version. It was definitely a younger version, but he had a younger take on it. You know what I mean? You know, and so it was cool, because what I like about Kirk was and still is, he's a performer. The dude is a straight up performer. So we can get in, that's what was fun about it. We can get in a show, and whatever he's feeling, you know, we can go totally left. That's what was fun about it. It wasn't like we just did this every night. You never know what he's going to do. And so we just follow him. Some of that stuff was just straight up made up. And if it worked, hey, we'll do it in the next show. If it didn't, hey, we'll laugh about it, you know. It was that kind of deal, you know. So he's a performer, so he's going to woo the crowd regardless. I don't care if the band is sucking or the singers are sucking. He's going to still make sure everybody have a good time.
What did it feel like as you guys literally was one of the first to take it from out of the church into stadiums and arenas and big amusement parks? What did that feel like?
Man, it was cool. It was, I was actually kind of used to big crowds from my church, and, you know, playing and, you know, with different artists, you know, but when he started, you know, doing these big, you know, arenas and stuff, I was like, man, this is cool. You know what I mean? It was fun. You know, it was, especially traveling with them, with this group of people, everybody, you know, they called it Kirk Franklin and the family, but everybody, it really felt like a family. Everybody got along, and, you know, everybody loved, you know, we played a lot of games, you know. We'll be in a pretty much heated domino game right before we get on stage. You know, it was like that. You know, it was that kind of stuff. And there was always something funny happening on stage that the audience don't see, or, you know. So it was cool, you know, and especially playing in them big arenas, man. It's like, wow, you know, it's a good deal. You know, I love the experience of it. So.
Can't you put your hands together like this a while? Just like that, just like that, just like that. Can we have a good time in His name tonight? Can we have a good time right now? How many of you are glad to be here right now? So you don't mind having a little church with me, do you, huh? Come on and sing it with me. Sing. Melodies from heaven. Come on, sing. Rain down on me. Rain down on me. Yeah, come on and sing it with me. Melody. Melodies from heaven. Hallelujah. Sing. Rain down on me. Rain down on me. Everybody.
Are you still in touch with Kurt at all?
I mean, whenever I see him, yeah. You know, he actually stays probably about 10 minutes from here.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Isn't that something? Do you ever get it? Do you still get a chance to sit down on a drum kit sometimes? E?
Yeah, man, I'm still recording like almost every week, man. I get requests for different songs, you know, to lay tracks on different songs all the time, you know.
I got here that you are a producer, songwriter, and you do a lot of studio sessions. Tell me about some of the things you're doing as the producer, and then also tell me, what does that GTO behind you stand for, and that you have?
Well, I mean, as far as all the producing, I get, you know, requests to produce a song, whether it's a song or it's mostly different songs now, because it's like people are really getting slow about doing full projects these days. You know, everybody's like, hey, man, I got an EP or I got a single I want to put out. So I'm getting more of like producing different songs now rather than albums. You know, I do a lot of, you know, across the board from R&B, jazz, gospel, you know, that kind of, even some couple of rock bands that I produce, you know, locally, you know, that kind of stuff. So I get a lot of those, you know, which I like doing because I get to, you know, really show what I can do, you know. And now as far as this GTO, this is my company, GTO Entertainment. And GTO stands for Gift, Tools, and Opportunities. And what it came from is, it came back when I was, back to like what we was talking about, all of these arenas and stuff. When I used to play with Kirk, and we'd be in these big, huge arenas. And so when I get on the kit, you know, I sit on my throne, I always say a quick prayer. And that prayer was, you know, I would bow my head and thank and ask God, well, not ask God, but tell God, I thank you for the gift, the tools, and opportunities you have given me, you know. And that was always my simple prayer. And so when I came off the road, I wanted to, you know, I just didn't want to be a drum. Like I said, I never wanted to be a musician, a professional musician. It just kind of fell into my lap, you know, and I was blessed to, you know, to get as far as I got, you know, at being that. But it's always been my dream to have an entertainment company, you know, not just a record company and stuff like that, you know, but all the way across the board, from, you know, film to music to, you know, anything entertainment. And so, and that's what the name kind of coincides with that, because the way we approach it is like, if artists have a gift, I have the tools and the opportunity to give them to be successful. And so right now I'm in the middle of, we're getting ready to build a school, media school, you know, that deals with, and it's a minority media school. And it deals with, you know, like film, photography, graphic arts, TV, broadcasting, radio, webcasting, all of that different stuff. And reason why is because, you know, like I've been a part of this entertainment industry. I've been on movie sets and all videos and all that stuff. And every time what you see is, you know, nothing against them, but it's usually white people that are running the scene behind it. And what I've noticed is that, you know, from where I come from, there's a lot of minority, there's a lot of Black people who have so much talent, but they don't get an opportunity to go to these, they can't afford these schools, and they don't get an opportunity to really express the gifts that they have. And so that's what I'm trying to do, you know, provide that opportunity for them. So, you know, that's it kind of like in a nutshell. You know, I can go all day about, especially about that, so.
We have a thing on the show we call Word of Advice. And what it is we ask the drummers or guests if they would leave a parting word for the upcoming drummers that's trying to get traction in this game, in this industry, or even some of the guys that are already established trying to get to the next level. Would you leave a word of advice for them, please?
Ooh, I mean, there's so much I can say. I'm gonna try to keep it short because I do this all the time, especially because I run into so many musicians. But one of the things I'm always telling them, man, is to, for one thing, be reliable. Learn to establish good relationship with all of these clients, you know, because I like to keep a good name about myself and a good reputation, you know, and learn to get along with people, you know. I've seen cats who they have like a zero type of personality, you know, and it's just not fun to be around or not, you know, or whatever, you know. It's like, hey, man, this entertainment industry, you got to learn to get along with these people and learn to, you know, gel with them, because they'll call you back, because they're going to call you back based on the last encounter that they had with you. So it's one of the main things. I'm just keep it right there. Just be reliable. That's it.
Wow.
You
know, church is, and I don't say this as a put down, but I guess it's real and we have to talk about it. Church can get really messy. You hear a lot of bad stuff, and the drummer this, and the band and the preacher this. How do you handle that? How do you handle that? Just that whole network thing in church when it gets real messy and people quitting and backstabbing, and how do you deal with that?
Well, like I don't play for a church right now. Mostly what I do, I'll sub. I've been offered, you know, a lot of church gigs, but like you said, all of that messy stuff, I got tired of hearing all that and dealing with it. So I was like, I want to sit in the pew. I want to get to where I don't need to know who's sleeping with who or what, you know, because all of that is going on in every church, you know, and I don't want to be looking at nobody sideways. But like I tell my son, you know, he plays for a church, and I tell him, hey, don't pay attention to none of it. Stay away from it. You know, because if you listen to it or entertain it, you're going to get pulled into it. Next thing you know, you'll be out of there because somebody done got mad at somebody or the rumors are spreading out. You got to keep your name clean. Always try to keep your name clean. You know, you got to have a good name. So if you stay out of that stuff, you can have a good name. You know, when I did play at churches and stuff like that happened, everybody always looked at me like, well, I know he ain't had nothing to do with it because that's not his vibe. And they know, because somebody can come to me with some crazy stuff. I'll be like, hey, I ain't trying to hear it. I ain't trying to hear it. So, you know, but that came with, it hadn't always been like that. That just came with, you know, years of experience and dealing with that kind of stuff, you know. So now I have enough sense to not get involved with that kind of stuff.
What did you do with Tyler Perry?
Man, I did. I stopped playing with Kirk Franklin like in '99. I went straight from there because the promoter that the guy that used to promote Kirk, his name was Arthur Primus, he was also promoting Tyler. Nobody really knew who Tyler was. He was kind of starting out. This was like in '98, '99. And I went from Kirk, and I got the call from Arthur. He was like, hey, man, the drummer just quit, and I need you, can you come out? I was like, sure, you know, I'm not doing nothing right now. So I came out and started playing with Tyler. This was on I can do bad all by myself. It was a play he was doing. And we finished that tour. Then he did the next tour, which was Diary of a Mad Black Woman. So we did that tour. Then he went from Diary of a Mad Black Woman to Medea's family reunion. Did Medea's family reunion, did that whole tour for a year or so. And then we went from there to Medea's class reunion. Did that whole tour, and then he went from there, then we did Meet the Browns. Did that whole tour. By then, I was tired. I had been traveling with Tyler for like 6-7 years, so I was like, man, it's time to come off this road. You know, I had done, you know, been everywhere, seen everything, you know, and I was at a point where I wasn't necessarily tired of the road, but I'd been everywhere, and I had the pictures, but when you look at the pictures, it was just me and my homeboys in the picture. My family wasn't in the pictures. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't share all of that experience in traveling. So I was like, you know what? It's time to come off the road, and I got to, you know, get on my business and make this thing happen so I can travel with my family, you know? So.
How do you stay so humble in all you've seen? And I know you should pinch yourself sometime, but you've seen it all. You've been everywhere. You've done it all. How do you just stay so grounded and so humble?
Man, it's just a blessing to just, you know, be alive and to just, you know, to be, I'm going to say, used by God, you know. So I don't take the things that he's blessed me to do, you know, for granted. Put it that way, because I've been in some pretty bad situations that I know that God brought me out of it. And I'm like, why? You know what I mean? You know, so it's like every opportunity I get to meet somebody is like, I try to put a good impression on them or be a good influence to them, especially musicians, you know, because I've been a lot of places. So I try to share the knowledge and, you know, that kind of stuff. I try to be a mentor to as many as I can, you know. I mean, if we can't be a mentor to them, what uses are we? You know, and I like to say that I like to think of it as God allowed me to do certain things for special reasons. So I don't know exactly what the big reason is, but I take every opportunity to think that it's for this reason. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So,
Erick, close us up. What would you want to say to the Extraordinary Drummer audience and the young drummers in closing? What would you like to say to them?
Well, I mean, they are so gifted right now. What I would love for them to do is just be better examples, you know, like you were to me, you know, because there's so many people that are watching you. You know, these drummers now, I come across them, most of them, you know, they into drugs and everything else, you know, so I just wish they would just be a better example, you know, for the younger, you know, for the other generations that are coming up under them, because people are watching, and you're entitled to you have a stage now that you really didn't work hard for, like we used to work hard, you know, back in the day. So appreciate that stage you have and be a better example and mentor these cats that are coming up. You know, so just that's all I want them to do, is just be a better example and appreciate the gigs that they have, you know, because it's here today and it can be gone tomorrow. So just be a better example. That's all.
Erick, let me end on this note. Thank you so very much for coming on the Extraordinary Drummer Show. I got to tell you, man, you've been a blessing in my life more than you know, man.
Oh man, I appreciate that, brother. Same here.
Let me just say that from the songs you played on that got me through. He said, got me over. They got me through. You got to get there to get over it. So they got me through your gift. I would never know how you knew that time when I was homeless. I got a package out of nowhere, never talked to you, And I still to this, and I still have that script too. I still have that script. I can tell you exactly what I said. I was waiting for that moment. But you've been a blessing in my life as a friend, as a man of God, as a drummer. I remember when I saw you and you had put on all the muscles. I said, I'm losing the weight. If this guy can do that to his body, I can. And I got in and lost the weight. And I just want to say thank you for that, man.
I appreciate you, man. You're welcome, man. You know, you my dude, man. You my dude, brother. You meant a lot in my life, man. I talk to you pretty much almost every time I'm trying to, you know, mentor somebody else. You know, like you said, you got it from somebody. I got it from you. You know, got to keep it going, brother. Got to keep it going.
Will you help us wave?
And God ain't through with us. You might be retired from drums, but He ain't through. You ain't retired, brother. Neither am I. So we still got another half to go, man. We still got to go.
You said a half. I thought it was a quarter. You gave it a half.
Got a half, brother. Got a half. I'm in my 50s now. I say I keep telling everybody I'm gonna die on my 100th birthday. Peaceful. So,
will you help us wave goodbye to all the audience? Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, buddy. God bless you, man. Love you too, brother.
Love you more, man. Stay there. Let me turn up the recording. I want to pass something by you.
All right.